All right, so I'm going to give you kind of an introduction to a few different angles and finding some missing things, okay? I have drawn two straight lines here that are going to cross each other. And when you do that, you can form what's called vertical angles, okay? So vertical angles, if I, for instance, say this is 30, the opposite side will also equal 30. They will be equal to each other. So vertical, and again, vertical angles are formed when two straight lines cross each other. They can't just connect. So for instance, those don't cross. So those are not vertical. So I cannot form vertical angles out of those. Okay, not until they do a cross do they form what would be considered vertical angles. So in this one, let's say this is 110. That means this is 110. Okay, so that's vertical angles. Okay, I'll write that. All right. So again, they are formed by two lines that cross each other, and then the opposite, the sides that are opposite of each other, will be equal. We have right angles, and you could tell a right angle by this symbol. A right angle is always worth 90 degrees. Okay. We also have what they call straight angles. Looks like a straight line. A straight line or a straight angle is worth 180 degrees. Okay. Now we're going to work with both of these real quick to find out some missing things. All right, so if I tell you this entire side over here, this line is worth 180 degrees, and I split it into two parts, okay, and let me change this just a little bit. I'm going to make the numbers pretty easy here, okay. If I tell you that 100 degrees of our 180 is on this side, and I ask what's missing, okay, so these two add together and equal 180, okay, so hopefully you've come up with the fact that I need to subtract to find out what's missing. Now, some of you in your head, you're going, oh, I just need to add 80, and then give it to me. Good. Sometimes you can add in your head and get there, but sometimes whenever you're missing something, you can always subtract. So, in order to find this x, I go, okay, it's missing, okay? It is 180 minus 100. That tells me that 80 was missing. And another trick that you want to look for, if you know that, so I'm going to go back to this problem. If you can see, if you know that this is 90, this size, this is a right angle, you'll see that this side, this angle is smaller, which means that it's got to be less than 90. It's a good starting point. Before I begin, if I were to draw this real quick, all right, I can very quickly see that the angle formed here by these lines is greater than 90. I may not know exactly what it is, but I know it's more than 90. Okay? I know that this side is less than 90. It's a good place to start. Yeah. So let me do a couple other quick problems. Okay? So, well, and actually before I even do that, you might want to pause the video real quick, and I want you to try this one. Okay? So I'm going to tell you, so I got my straight line, and I'm going to put 50 here, okay? So pause the video, see if you can find what's missing over there real quick. Okay? So hopefully you got this. So we know a straight line is worth 180 degrees. If 50 of it's here, then what's missing is over here, so I've got to get something smaller than 180 for sure. So I need to get smaller, so I'm probably going to subtract. Subtract 50, 130, yeah? And like we said earlier, this is greater than 90. We knew that. We could see it. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take this angle, okay, and I'm going to put a right angle. We know a right angle is worth 90 degrees. Okay, so this is 90 degrees. All right, that's the degree symbol. And I'm going to split it into two parts. Now, they're not equal parts. I'm going to say this side over here is 30. All right, if this side is 30 and together these are 90, then what I'm missing should be smaller than 90. So again, we need to get smaller. That's subtract. So 90 minus 30 is 60. 60. And you can kind of double check it and go, oh, 30 plus 60, that is 90. That is the total of what this is. Just like up here, you could add these together and go, oh, the straight line, it's worth 180. Well, there's 100, there's 80, that's 180. One more. One more that I'm going to show you, and then we'll give you 2 more to practice. Okay, so they may, let me change this just a little bit. All right, they like to draw a line. Okay, so they're going to say that the length here, that's how they measure angles a lot of times. They'll draw it like this, and they'll go, okay, well, these angles, we'd like to know what they are together. And I'm going to tell you that this one is 30 and this one is 40. If I know that this is 30 and this is 40, they want to know how much they are together. We need to get bigger. Obviously, this is all a little bit bigger, so we just need to add 30 plus 40, 70. Okay. So I'm going to erase these real quick, and I'm going to give you 2 practice problems that I would advise you to pause and then try. So once I draw them, so we're going to try these. Okay. All right, I'm going to say, well, let me do this. All right, so we got a right angle, and I'm going to make this 40, and I want you to find that. Okay. So go ahead and pause it, give it a shot. Okay. Now that we're unpaused, we got 90 degrees here. These 2 angles make up 90 degrees. There's 40 of it here, and I need to find this smaller part. So, getting smaller, gonna subtract. 90 minus 40. Starting with 90, because we know that's the total of them. 40 is what we know. That leaves me with 50, which also kind of makes sense. This side's 40, it's smaller. This side's a little bit bigger, 50. Kind of makes sense. All right. And one more. Got this big angle here. And I'm going to say that this is 80 and this is 30. And I want to know how much all of this is. So go ahead and pause it. Give it a shot. Okay. So we're back. We notice this side is 30, this side is 80. Together they make something bigger, so we need to add them together. 30 plus 80 equals 110. All right. So that's vertical angles, okay, kind of combining angles, but we also have right angles here that are worth 90 and straight angles that are worth 180.